now call the Carroll County Board of Commissioners May 2nd, 2023 meeting to order. I'll ask the clerk, Linda Bingham, to call roll call.
Chairman Morgan.
Here.
Vice Chairman Chance.
Here.
Commissioner McClendon.
Here.
Commissioner Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Fuller.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Here.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
At this time, we're going to have Judge Edie Haney lead us in an invocation, inspiration, and the Pledge of Allegiance.
My small glasses on so I can see you. Good to see you, Commissioners. Thank you for inviting me. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and this year's theme I thought was particularly appropriate for our Board of Commissioners. I did a little reading on it today just to be able to give a little inspirational moment that's related to mental health. So this year's theme is Look Around, Look Within. Your surroundings say a lot about your mental health. Take a moment to consider your surroundings. Do you feel safe? Do you have access to health care and grocery stores? Do you enjoy your community? This is Mental Health Month. Challenge yourself to look at your world and how different factors can affect your mental health. Where a person is born, lives, learns, works, plays, and gathers, as well as their economic stability and social connections, are all factors that affect our mental health and well-being. Our environment directly impacts our mental health. And yet when we talk about mental health, we usually focus on how we treat individuals rather than how to design community environments, i.e. roads, safe parks, job opportunities, and quality affordable housing for optimal mental health. Treating individuals one at a time is critically important, but we as a community can and should prevent symptoms from occurring or intensifying by developing communities that are healthy, safe, and equitable for everyone. We build our community, and then it builds us. When our communities are safe, affordable, and equitable, those qualities will affect mental health of every individual in the community. Some of the community factors that most affect mental health and well-being include look, feel, and safety. A deteriorating environment can deteriorate the mental health of community members, while cared-for sidewalks, trees, parks, and local public art uplift. Housing. High-quality, safe, and affordable housing correlates with reductions in reported symptoms of depression. Arts and cultural expression. Music, dance, and visual art foster healthy expression and mental well-being through creativity and outlets for emotional healing. Social networks and trust. Strong community relationships correspond with improvements in mental health and academic achievement and lower rates of homicide, suicide, and substance misuse. And fair employment. Unemployment is a major contributor to anxiety and depression. A resilient community needs a strong foundation. When the above community factors, jobs, housing, social networks, are rooted in values like connectedness, dignity, and hope, it strengthens healing and builds resilience. We must reinforce these values for our community to flourish and thrive. This is from the National Mental Health Association, and when I read it, I have to say to you as our Board of Commissioners, it again brought out pride in our community. I feel like our community addresses those concerns, that this is the kind of community that we have built and that you continue to build as our commissioner. So I want to stand before you today and thank you for your commitment to our community. And I'll ask you really quickly, it is an invocation, I'm going to ask you to pray with me really quickly. Father God, I thank you for the diligence and commitment of our community leaders to build a community environment that is nourishing and supportive to all of our citizens. I pray that you would guide and direct their efforts, as well as the efforts of all of us to care for one another and our community. It's in Jesus' name that I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Judge Haney. At this time, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion made.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
I'll also look for a motion and a second to approve the minutes from April the 11th, and then our executive session April the 11th, and our meeting on our budget retreat on April the 19th.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
Actually, guys, I'm going to rearrange this just a little bit. I thought I would do the presentations first and do public comments. Is that okay if we reverse those two? All right, so at this time, we're going to move into the proclamations. And the first one we have is the Mental Health Awareness for 2023. Mental Health Awareness Month. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas all citizens of Carroll County experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and whereas promotion and prevention are effective ways to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and whereas there is a strong body of research that supports specific tools that all Americans can use to better handle challenges and protect their health and well-being, and whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent, and whereas with early and effective treatment, individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives, and whereas the work of the Carroll County Mental Health Advocates is invaluable to our community, and we commend their efforts to providing care to our individuals and families impacted by mental illness and addiction. Now therefore, I, Michelle Morgan, Chairman of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Carroll County. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Carroll County, Georgia, to be affixed this proclamation on the 2nd day of May 2023. And I'm going to ask Judge Haney, who is one of our Carroll County mental health advocates, to join me in the commissioners, and we'll do a picture.
On behalf of the mental health advocates, we thank you for that. It's very important to our community.
And the words you read earlier.
Are we here?
I bet she wants us to stay. I don't know. She said come here. You want us
Chairman,
down
you want
there
us
or
back
up there?
here?
See.
I'm now going to call on Commissioner McClendon for our second proclamation honoring the Carrollton High School debate team.
Whereas the Carrollton High School debate team once again demonstrated superior skill in the presentation of logic and persuasiveness by winning the 2023 State Debate Championship, marking the third consecutive year and the 13th State Debate Championship win in the school's history. And whereas the Carrollton High School State Champion debate team includes members Audrey Browning, Zoe Bush, Alan T. Hawkins, James Hauser, Andrew Johnson, Kieran Kelly, Eden Long, Harold Hal Mitchell, John Will Robertson, Wright Ronick, Luke Zimmer, Mark Zimmer, and whereas the Carrollton High School State Champion debate team is superbly coached by the experienced and resourceful head coach Richard Bracknell, and whereas by their dedication, talent, and hard work, the team and coach of the Carrollton High School State Championship debate team have brought honor and recognition to the school, city, and county. Now, therefore, in honor and appreciation for the accomplishments of Carrollton High School debate team and the dedication and support of their coach and parents, the Carroll County Board of Commissioners does hereby congratulate and commend the 2023 Carrollton High School State Champion debate team for their superior performances and outstanding achievements. In witness thereof, I, Michelle Morgan, Chairman of the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, have hereunto set my hand and caused this seal of Carroll County, Georgia, to be affixed to the proclamation on this 2nd day of May, 2023.
Congratulations. If we could have all of y'all come forward, and also here tonight we do have Coach Bracknell and we have Carrollton High School Principal Ian Lyle. So if y'all will all come forward so we can give you proper congratulations. now going to call on Commissioner Fuller for our real exciting, most recent award for the Carroll County FFA.
Whereas Future Farmers of America was founded by a group of young farmers in 1928 with their mission being to prepare future generations for the challenges of feeding a growing population, they taught us that agriculture is more than planting and harvesting. It's a science, it's a business, and it's an art. And whereas today the National FFA organization remains committed to the individual student, providing a path to achievement in premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education, while continuing to help the next generation develop their own unique talents and explore their interest in a broad range of agricultural pathways. And whereas the Georgia FFA Association functions within the constitution of the National FFA organization, it is the third largest state association with more than 77,000 members, 384 chapters, and more than 475 agricultural education teachers. And whereas the primary goal of the Georgia FFA Association Awards Program is to develop individual responsibilities, foster teamwork, and promote communication while recognizing the value of ethical competition and the value of individual achievement, excuse me. And whereas we would like to recognize the Carroll County chapter members who received the 2023 state degree at the 95th Georgia FFA Convention in Macon, Georgia. And they are from Bowden Chapter, Nathaniel Pope, Adam Stone, and Elizabeth Watson. Central of Carroll Chapter, Hayden Buford, Thomas Good, Hunter Hooks, Samuel Rivers, and Lane Skinner, and Chase Skipper, Carson Smith, and Audrey Stallings. From the Mount Zion Chapter, Levi Henderson, Temple Chapter, Jackson, I'm going to butcher your name, Quindette. Now therefore, in honor and appreciation for the accomplishments of these Georgia FFA members and the dedication and support of their agricultural education teachers, the Carroll County Board of Commissioners does hereby congratulate and commend the 2023 Georgia degree graduates for their living out the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve. In witness thereof is signed Michelle Morgan, Chairman. And I'd like to say it was a real honor for me to do this because I was the treasurer at the Central FFA in 1969-70. So when Michelle asked me to do this, I was like, absolutely. So thank you.
All right, guys, ladies, y'all come forward. We'll give you the honor. When they go around again, we'll have to wait for after. now we'll skip back to the public comments. Public comments are an opportunity for the public to address the commission with any issues or concerns they may have. All remarks should be made directly to the chairman and not to individual commissioners, staff, or citizens in attendance. Members of the public shall not make inappropriate or offensive comments. Any individual who violates the rules of decorum may be removed from this meeting. At this time, the board will not comment, nor will the board take any action on these comments, and speakers are limited to 3 minutes. So at this point, I did not see where anyone signed in, so I'll ask, is there anyone here that would like to speak during the public comments? I'll ask again a second time, anyone here to speak during public comments? Okay, well, seeing and hearing none, we will go into the business session, actually the zoning session. And I'm going to call on Ben Skipper for community development. Let me give a little bit of the rules for planning and zoning. The applicant or anyone speaking in favor of the application or request shall be allowed a total of 10 minutes to present their request. Anyone opposed to the request will also have a total of 10 minutes to present for opposition. This is 10 minutes total, not 10 minutes per person, either for or against. So there again, if there's multiple speakers, remember you only have the 10 minutes total. Anyone, after we have the first round of 10 minutes and 10 minutes, the applicant is then allowed to come back up and give a 5-minute rebuttal, and then the opposition will also have the opportunity for a total of 5 minutes for a second rebuttal. So at this time, Ben, I'm going to turn it over to you for our first conditional use on Highway 27.
Thank you, Chairman and Board of Commissioners. Our first application tonight is a conditional use on 27 South at the corner of Lowell Road. The owner applicant is Remington Omni Enterprise, LLC, request for a conditional use permit for 2 self-storage buildings, RV boat storage, line and land lot 2, 11th District, parcel 92-0103. The property is located in Commission District 4. The Planning Commission had a split decision for this one, so it was 3-3. So it comes to the Board of Commissioners without a recommendation. Is the applicant present? If you would, come forward, state your name, and present your request to the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Skipper, and forgive my voice. I've been on the phone all day. I apologize for my voice. My name is Mark Kilgore. My address is 1823 West Levante Circle, Beverly Hills, Florida. So that you don't think I'm an outsider coming in, our family has roots in Carroll County back to 1901. As a matter of fact, my grandfather's name, Andrew Jackson Kilgore, is on one of the columns in front of the police station in Villa Rica. Just to set the stage here, okay? I'm not a wealthy outsider coming in from Beverly Hills. I see the grin there. Madam Chairperson, Commissioners, thank you for your time and attention this evening. As Mr. Skipper said, we're here to seek approval for a conditional use permit for a self-storage facility on the parcel as he has described. When we were here with the Planning Commission 2 weeks ago, we presented this same case, and there were multiple concerns that were raised by the opposition, valid concerns, and I echoed those concerns and also addressed those concerns. The concerns were landscaping, illumination, access, and I believe the other one was travel and vehicle trips, and the major concern was water runoff onto the adjoining lots. And I'll quickly address those. First of all, we are required, we don't have the option, we are required by the Carroll County Development Code to limit the amount of light pollution as far as lights shining upward. We are required for those lights to shine down. We have to, by international building code and also accepted engineering standards, we have to control the water on the lot. Any water that's incident on our parcel of land has to be controlled on that lot. We cannot allow, the codes and engineering practice will not allow that water to go on to the neighboring lot for many reasons. there was concern about increased travel on Lowell Road. We are not allowed to have an entrance off of 27, so the entrance would have to be off of Lowell Road. And and now we have not done a vehicle count, but the average number of vehicle trips per hour for a self-storage unit is 5 vehicle trips per hour. That's the national average. Now, a vehicle trip meaning one vehicle in and that same vehicle out. So we are very cognizant of these concerns. Also, the other that I have not addressed here tonight is landscaping. One of the concerns was, well, we don't want to see, I'll just use the term junk or a poorly constructed facility. We have to build this facility to the International Building Code. It has to pass all the inspections by the Carroll County Building Inspection Department, and also the landscaping has to pass at least minimum standards, and it has to contain native flora and native trees. And this is something that we are very aware of. We are very sensitive to this. As a matter of fact, on another facility that we have in Florida, I just hired a landscape architect today. So that is something that is handled professionally. That is not something that we go out on a whim and go to the local nursery. Not that we're opposed to going to the local nursery. We plan to employ as much local resources as possible, but we take this very seriously, and we pay a professional to design the landscape so that it is, something that is aesthetically pleasing, something that, that we are proud of. When we put our name on it, Remington Omni Enterprises, Remington Storage, we're proud of it. This is a facility that if we are approved to go forward, it's going to be on 27 South coming into town from Troup County. I know that the commission, I know that the citizens of Carroll County want it to look good as well. Another point that I want to make tonight is that the parcel of land that's being considered for this conditional use permit is currently zoned general commercial. And with that zoning, there is I don't have a listing of it, but there are numerous other commercial facilities that could be put on this particular parcel of land with no further review by the commission. There's already a list that can go on there. And among those are, some high-impact facilities such as service stations, convenience stores, things of that nature, where you have many more vehicle trips per day than what we anticipate, and also the light illumination or the light pollution and the illumination would be mounted on lights that could be anywhere from 18 to 25 feet tall, and would certainly spread that light pollution all over the neighboring property. And per the Carroll County Development Code, we are not allowed to do that for a self-storage facility. So what we are proposing here and hoping to get the approval tonight is a facility that is probably one of the lowest impact facilities that could be put on that particular piece of property that, again, is already zoned commercial. Thank you for your time.
There's about 4 minutes left. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? I'll ask a second time, is there anyone here to speak in favor of this application? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll then waive the 4 minutes and we'll move into the 10 minutes total for those to speak in opposition. So do we have someone here who'd like to speak in opposition?
Good evening, Commission. Allison Stober. I live at 1145 Lowell Road, Carrollton, Georgia, 30116. I'm on the other side of 27, where this is going to be located at the headwaters of 27 and Lowell Road. I'm opposed to this proposal because of several reasons. Number one, traffic. Currently there is a small paved area that will traverse the DOT drainage system. It's not wide enough for the entrance. You're coming off of 27 and then coming off of Lowell Road. If you have something in tow, Lowell Road, right at that intersection, is a high-traffic area. I live on Lowell Road, so I see it coming and going. Another reason is the light pollution. This is a rural part of the county, and there are other locations that this could be located in a more lit place. For example, straight across from John Deere that's already lit up, and keeping it closer to town. Lowell Road is already flanked with a storage unit at the end in downtown Lowell. I don't know why we need to put another one at the beginning of Lowell Road. There are approximately 40 of these type units within Carroll County, and within this particular spot, there are within 3 to 4 miles. There's one on 27 by the Deer Farm, there's the one at Lowell Road, and there's some in town. There's plenty around already. Another reason is very obvious, is the topography of that lot. There's essentially a ravine that goes down. For water drainage, it's significant. That's why the roads department put in that drainage to help that. And then there's a ditch that cuts right through it. I invite all of you to go out and see that property. It's an ideal spot to stay green space. I know that it's zoned and the comprehensive plan wants to use all those corridors, but there can be some salt and pepper green spaces. It doesn't have to be door to door with commercial. And if you will consider these reasons and these points that I've brought before you in making this final decision. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in opposition to this applicant?
My name is Keith Berry. I live 2 properties adjacent to the property in question, 2375 Hooping Creek Church Road, 30116. The first thing I want to mention is obviously the zoning for this specific use. This is not a commercial entity, right? So it has to be, the zoning has to be changed. Or a special use, if you will. I think the property was originally zoned commercially for a reason, and to change it to fit in something that doesn't fit commercial, I think we have to think about that. Obviously, being nearby, the light pollution is something I'm concerned about, the drainage. I know that's been addressed to some degree, but either way you look at it, there's going to be a lighted horizon where there is none now. Some of those things I kind of came to grips with after our last meeting. I said, you know, it's zone commercial, something's going to go there eventually. This may be a very controlled thing to go there. And I kind of come to grips with it until the next 2 days later. I was driving a tractor across Highway 27 onto Lowell Road from a friend of mine's farm. And at that moment, a Winnebago, if you will, was turning off 27 onto Lowell Road, and it couldn't do it. It took up the turning lane, his lane, the oncoming lane, and the turning lane to turn right. If it had been a truck pulling a boat or another Winnebago or anything like that, it's going to block the entire lane of traffic, and then it's going to have to do the same thing to turn into this property. My concern is, if you've been on that road, there are a lot of people coming northbound on Lowell Road at a high rate of speed, coming over a hill, and within probably 1/10 or 2/10 of a mile, you're going to have people trying to turn into this property. There's likely to be a possibility of increased risk to traffic because of those long, slow turns and people coming over a hill at a 45-mile-an-hour rate of speed. Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else here to speak in opposition?
Commissioners, I'm Jerry Stober. I live at 1071 Lowell Road. Been there for over 35 years. And I've watched the traffic grow every year, and the speed goes up with it. We have a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit on Lowell Road, but that's the exception, not the rule. Unless there's a cop out there, you don't see any controlled speed. It's like 70 or 65 or sometimes 80 miles an hour. And if you're coming up Lowell Road from Lowell and you top the hill just before you can see where the entrance is that they want to put on off of Lowell Road, there's very little stopping distance. There's also the entrance of Hooping Creek Church Road, which doesn't give a driver any chance to stop either. But this is the biggest flaw in this plan, is the entrance. And the applicant says that you cannot come off of Highway 27. I think it has to be required that that's the only way you can enter and leave and enter this property, because it is just going to be deadly off of Lowell Road. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else that would like to speak against this application? I'll ask a second time if there's anyone here that wants to speak in opposition. Well, seeing and hearing none, we'll reset the clock back to 5 minutes if the applicant would like to come back.
Thank you. I'll attempt to address each of those concerns, and yes, they are valid concerns. I don't think that we can concede that at all. As far as the need for more storage facilities, in our due diligence, in our feasibility studies, we have found that within a 10-mile radius of this proposed location, that the average occupancy of self-storage units is 90%. With some having waiting lists on there. So we have determined that yes, there is a need for an additional facility such as this. As far as the entrance to the property from Lowell Road, the existing entrance going over what I have referred to at the past meeting, the water flume for drainage, is not what would be the final entrance. It would be engineered for the traffic count and the size and length of vehicles that would be pulled onto this property. And I will remind the commission that, or will advise you that the main impetus of this is not RV and boat storage. There will be many, let's just say the average vehicle trips that I stated earlier will be coming in and out of this facility, but again, a redesigned and reconstructed entrance off of Lowell Road. Now, while I stated in my previous session that we have not conducted traffic studies, we have looked at aerial photographs of the intersection of 27 and Lowell Road and determined that there is sufficient turning radius off of and into Highway 27 for a driver to get on and off safely, and maybe I should say in and out of Lowell Road safely. I can't speak to a driver's ability. Each driver, of an RV is going to have different driving abilities, and I don't doubt what was said about the vehicle not being able to get in and out. I wasn't there, so I can't oppose that. And as far as the other gentleman saying there's going to be, I think the term that he used, deadly wrecks or something of that nature, at this point is speculation. But again, we have done our studies as far as accessibility is concerned, turning radiuses, and what is referred to as deposit links off of the main artery. So I hope that I've respectfully addressed those issues. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that'd like to speak in favor of this application? There's 2 minutes left. Anyone like to speak in favor? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll reset the clock back to 5 minutes. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak again in opposition to the applicants?
Again, Allison Stober, 1145 Lowell Road. I'd like to just say that this corner involves two Congress or commissioners that are separated, Ernie as well as Steve Fuller. It impacts two districts severely. I think it can be used a more inviting use of space in another way. I just disagree with it completely. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here that'd like to speak during the rebuttal time in opposition? I'll ask again, anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Well, seeing and hearing none, I'll open it up to the commissioners for question of the applicant or of staff that is here.
Well, I have some questions for both, which, Mr. Kilgore, I'll go with you first.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is access into that property now off of Lowell Road. It's an old culvert, so I guess you plan on moving that to a better position?
It would be redesigned. I don't know exactly where it would be moved to, but it would be redesigned, more than likely widened.
Okay.
You know, now our intention is to leave the flume, the concrete water flume that is presently there. We plan to leave that intact. Now our site designers and site engineers would take all of that into account.
Okay, will it be attended, or will it be an unattended storage facility?
It's unattended.
Unattended, okay, so you will not, well, Ben, he wouldn't have to do sewer or anything like that, would he? Or would he?
No.
Okay. Okay, well, I do have a traffic study. We did a traffic study on Lowell Road last year from February 28th to April the 3rd. And this is in one direction, one lane, and it's not the entire road. 34,743 vehicles. That averages out to over 1,100 cars a day. And I was there this morning, and Mr. Kilgore, you don't have to stand there. I think I've asked all my questions.
Well, I was just waiting if there were other questions.
Oh, okay. If you guys, have y'all got any more questions?
Could I, you said 34,000, is that an annual?
That was in 1 month, that was in 31 days.
31 days, okay. I wasn't clear on that, thank you.
34,743 cars.
Okay, thank you.
Lowell Road's a fairly busy road. There are subdivisions down Hooping Creek Church Road, and there are subdivisions down Lowell Road. And it goes to Highway 5. Some people cut through there over going to Highway 5. And just for my own peace of mind, I went down this morning early, just to kind of get an idea of what early morning traffic looks like there. And it gets pretty interesting, where Hooping Creek Church Road runs in, people backing up at US 27, people trying to make right-hand turns off US 27 onto Lowell Road. So this is what concerns me, is if it's got to be a Lowell Road access, it's going to get very, very interesting down there between those two intersections, because you got two intersections there. So, but anyway, I'm getting out of questions, I'm getting into comments.
I understand your concern, and I appreciate that.
I have a couple questions. As Ms. Stober indicated, Lowell Road divides Steve and I's district, and I have one side of Lowell Road and Steve has the other. I didn't need to go down there this morning because I go through there about 6 times a day, and my family even more. And where you're proposing to put the driveway, traffic backs up there all the time. I don't know how many times you've been there, residing in Florida, probably not much, but it backs up the school traffic and Georgia Power traffic, as well as work traffic in and out of Carrollton, to way beyond where you're going to put the entrance. And when I used to take my kids to school or go back and forth from Atlanta for 34 years, that was routine. It is a very busy intersection with traffic backing up to Hooping Creek Church Road, which is well beyond the entrance where you're going to put the entrance. And as Mr. Stober mentioned, it's right over the hill then of where traffic comes 60, 70 miles an hour. Yeah, that's routine. In fact, my son got stopped doing that. And I get complaints all the time, and have the sheriff go out there, and they catch a lot of people. And traffic is as Commissioner Fuller mentioned, a cut through to Highway 5. It's not just a country lane road. It's really busy. I have really a lot of concerns about the danger of that area. I am concerned about one comment you made that says you cannot, you're not allowed to have an entrance on Highway 27. I find that a bit baffling because there was a proposed RV park as you come into Carrollton, right down there by Glenlock Road 2-3 years ago. And they could have an entrance with access off of the 4-lane 27 directly onto that property. They had to put in Accel decel lanes. So I don't know where you've got your information, but the DOT engineer, Grant Waldrop, told me as long as they put Accel decel lanes, they could have that entrance off of 27 there, which is just a couple miles south of where you're talking about. So maybe you're not allowed to have an entrance monetarily because it's costly, but as far as having an entrance from Lowell Road, I would just adamantly oppose that. That is a too dangerous situation. So tell me about the not being allowed to have an entrance on Highway 27.
If not mistaken, and I recollect correctly, it's in the Carroll County Development Code that we could not have an entrance off of 27. And,
Is that
and
true?
I don't have it in front of me here, so
You have to come to the microphone, please, so that everyone can hear.
Being familiar with these projects, typically from the center line intersection with Lowell Road and Highway 27, GDOT's going to require 330 feet minimum spacing for a right-in, right-out. So when he says he can't get access, it's just he can get a right-in, right-out. He won't be able to get a full median break, which is a median break on US 27. That's 660 feet to get a full break like there at Lowell Road. So, but yes, GDOT entrances, ingress, egress are a little more expensive. So, but yes, he could get a right in, right
Is
out.
it feasible to put one there in that spot though, and can he put one there if he wanted to?
Yes, I mean, he could. I mean, and this is just kind of going back, showing the gray hair on my head, because I remember when 27 was when they was purchasing the right-of-way in 96, 7, and 8. That strip that you see there, that's the old original Lowell road bed, where the road used to go, and it came out at a 45. There was an old store here, and that's kind of how it got this grandfathered in commercial, and that's how this piece is there. But the applicant definitely can get an access off US 27. The code wouldn't prohibit it. Thanks.
Any further questions for the applicant or for staff?
I have one other. Are you willing to come off 27, or you just absolutely want to come off Lowell Road?
Well, I would have to think about it because it was my understanding that we would not be allowed to come off of 27. If it's something that would persuade, or allow for a passage or approval of our conditional use permit, certainly. But I have, because it was my understanding that we could not, I have not looked at the financial implications of that. But I'm open to it at this point.
Any further questions for the applicant or for staff? Seeing and hearing none, I'll look for a motion in a second.
Madam Chairman, we have a lot of questions here that we can't get answered. Coming off of Lowell Road, I am absolutely opposed to that. That property is surrounded by residential and agriculture. I know it's commercial. And one of these days, but having said that, I'd recommend denial for a conditional use permit for this piece of property.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for denial to the application. Is there any further discussion or questions from the commissioners? Well, seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of denying the application? Any opposed to denying the application?
Motion to deny carries 7-0.
Thank you. We'll move on to the second rezoning, which is in Villa Rica.
Rezoning application 918 West Highway 78, Villa Rica. It's a request to rezone approximately 0.64 acres from office and institutional. Small typo there. So it's office and institutional to commercial, which was my mistake, Linda, by the way, for a potential buyer to use as a used car sales business. Line and land lot 164, 6th District, parcel 148-0494, located at 918 West Highway 78, Villa Rica. The owner applicant is Brenda Milam, and this property is located in the Commission District 3. The Planning Commission recommended approval 6-0 with a stipulation that this property would not do any auto repair so long as Ms. Thomas was still living. Is the applicant present? Just like Planning Commission. I had the prices right. I wanted to say, come on down. Just tell them your name and tell them what you want to do.
My name's Brenda Milam. I own Golden Shears in Villa Rica. And I put it up for sale. Then I found out it's not commercial like I thought it was. So I had to rezone it for him to be able to do the car lot, the person's wanting to buy it. So, and like I said, I'm just getting older and I want to retire.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor with you?
The one wanting to buy it is here.
Okay. You don't have to speak it if you'd like to.
Good evening. My name is Riyad Ricky Harilahu. I'm the owner of Autosport LLC in Dallas, Georgia. I've been operating for the last 7 years in Dallas, renting. So it's been, I know this is maybe just another meeting to you guys, but this has been 7 years in the making just to become a commercial property owner. Just to have that peace of mind of not having the landlord kind of over your head. It's difficult to own a company and pay rent because of my inventory. I have vehicles for sale, so it's not like I can just put things in a box if I'm given 30 days and move out. It's very difficult. The last year has been very stressful where I'm currently at with the landlord there because he refuses to sign a contract for rent. That's because he's planning on selling both of his parcels together close to $1 million, which I cannot afford. I wish I could. So I've been without a contract for the past year, and he's just kind of been holding that over my head. I've been looking for properties. in Cartersville, in Douglasville, and Villa Rica. I specifically chose Villa Rica because I believe it's a growing county, a growing city. Carroll County is growing tremendously. Villa Rica will be a great opportunity. I don't live too far, about 25-minute drive. I take care of the locals in Dallas. My reputation will speak for that. Autosport LLC in Dallas. You can look me up online. I run a small to medium-sized car business. I'm not trying to be the next Chevrolet. I'm just trying to provide for my 2 little kids, and I believe this would be a great opportunity for me to find a permanent home for my business. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? I'll ask a second time if there's anyone else here to speak in favor. Okay, we'll see, and then we'll waive the rest of the few minutes. Is there anyone here to speak against this application? Is there anyone here to speak against this application?
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, seeing and hearing none, I guess we'll waive that 10 minutes, or waive the 5 minutes and the 5 minutes. So at this time, I'll ask the Board of Commissioners if you have any questions for the applicant or for staff.
I have some questions. From being zoning from industrial down to commercial is a step down, right?
That was a misspoken. It's office and institutional, so we're going up one.
It's not industrial.
It's not industrial. That was a typo on my mistake. So, but it is office and institutional, which is exactly what it sounds like. Doctor's office, dentist, office clerks. But when you do step up to commercial, it is a little more intense use. And at the Planning Commission, the one adjoining neighbor spoke that concern, and that adjoining neighbor, Ms. Thomas, and the applicant, I believe, worked that out. Correct, Ms. Thomas?
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to speak to the,
Yes, sir.
what hours of operation are you gonna have there?
During the summer, probably like 9:30, 10, we're going to open up, and the latest we'll be there until the sun goes down, 7, 8 p.m. Even if like right now it gets 8 p.m., it doesn't get dark, I don't think we'll be there after 8 p.m. just because I don't have that type of customer base that's just constantly, it requires longer hours. So it will just most likely 10 to 7, around there. It will fluctuate with the seasons by an hour or two.
And you won't be doing any mechanical work or that kind of thing on the
No,
lot?
sir. I get my vehicles repaired off-site. I understand Ms. Thomas had a concern about that, and we've discussed it afterwards, and I really appreciate her being understanding. I'm going to be a good neighbor to her, and if there's anything she ever needs, I'm next door.
I don't have any more questions.
Any other questions for staff or the applicant? Well, at this time, then I'll look for a motion and a second.
I make a motion to approve with the stipulation that no mechanical work on site.
Second.
So I'd ask for clarification. So in the minutes, it said as long as Ms. Thomas was living. Are you want to make as long as she's living, or just no repairs?
No repair.
At all. Okay. I just want to make sure we had clarity based on the minutes. Okay, so
Thank
we
you,
have a
Chairman.
motion and a second. No, I just wanted to ask because of the minutes. We have a motion and a second to approve with the stipulation there'll be no repairs on site. Okay. At this point, any further discussion or questions for staff or the applicant?
Just to clarify that, when you say no repairs, you mean as far as setting up like a shop there to repair? Absolutely not, no. But sometimes I do a little oil change here and there. It's very minor repairs. But as far as setting up an actual shop, that was never in my plans because it's a small staff. It's just me and my wife. So that's not in the plans, and I don't think it will be. Plus, the property is not, it's, a little bit half acre, so I don't know how I would fit that into the property.
Well, I'm sure if you do, Ms. Thomas will let us know.
Yes,
Okay, at this
absolutely.
time, I'll ask.
Well, you'll see the building if that's the case, but I wouldn't be that stupid, no.
Okay, all those in favor of this application? Any opposed?
Motion carries 6-1.
Great, thank you. We'll now go into our third rezoning on Highway 166.
And this one's in District 5, Ernie Reynolds, and obviously he always gets the easy ones. So 3015 East Highway 166, a request to rezone approximately 5 acres from commercial back to agriculture for livestock. How fitting tonight when we have FFA here. Line and land lot 108 of the 5th District, parcel 155-0222, located at 315 East Highway 166. Owner applicant is Olivero Garcia. Property is located in District 5. Mr. Garcia, are you present? If you would, come forward, state your name, and present your request to the board.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Yeah, the reason we make the application is because we bought this property a couple months ago, me and my wife. And we are a small family, me, my wife, 2 daughters. And we want to see if you guys give us the opportunity to have some kind of chickens, goats, whatever. We're going to start with chickens, you know. My daughters, they want to have the experience to how to raise kind of chickens, you know, they say they want to eat like kind of real eggs, you know. Yeah, thanks.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor with you? Anyone else to speak in favor of this application? Well, seeing and hearing none, we'll waive the rest of the 9 minutes. Is there anyone here to speak against this application? I'll ask a second time, is there anyone here to speak against this application? Well, seeing and hearing none, we'll waive the rebuttal of 5 minutes time also. So at this point, commissioners, if you have any questions for the applicant or staff.
I spoke with Mr. Garcia earlier and understand you've had no questions or concerns from residents or your community around there. Is that correct? And just for the record, I have had no calls, emails, communication, period, any concerns from any of the community around there. So I do think it is fitting, especially since we did the agriculture thing, to have this converted back to agriculture. And I hope that your 2 children do have a great experience raising some animals and having the harvest from the land.
Madam Chair, could we put an attachment on this that they gotta have a couple of burros and mules and donkeys so he could get some calls and email?
Thanks, Tommy.
If there's no further comments or questions, I'll look for a motion and a second for this application.
I make a motion that this be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or questions? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
Great, thank you. That's the end of our planning and zoning. You are welcome to stay or to leave. We're going to move into the business session. At this point, we have the 11-1 is the budget advertisement. So to meet the timeline of the June 6, 2023 vote on the proposed budget, according to the county's enabling legislation, I am to publish the proposed budget along with the public notices required by OCGA 36-81-5E in the legal organ of Carroll County in an advertisement which will run tomorrow, Tuesday, May the 3rd, 2023, to allow for a public hearing on June the 6th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Therefore, I, as chairman, and to follow the county's enabling legislation, am submitting to the board, not later than the regular meeting, which is tonight, the estimated revenue for the upcoming year and a proposed balanced budget governing the expenditures of all funds expected to be available to the county for the upcoming year. I'm also including the proposed expenditures for capital outlay and public works. The finance director and myself reviewed information with the board relating to the financial affairs of the county, which is relevant to establishing this annual budget, and we did this at the April 19th, 2023 budget work session. This is a balanced budget. There is no action to be taken on this item at this time. I'm sorry I missed Thursday's work session. I'm very excited to have been down at ACCG and learning a lot of things to help our county. So I appreciate Vice Chairman Chance handling the meeting for me. And I see that we have several items that were a consent agenda, which will be one vote, and that would be the appointment of Community Development Board of Appeals from District 2. We have I don't have names on those. Wait a minute.
The Board of Appeals is an actual vote, not on consent.
Oh, here. Okay. I'm sorry. I skipped. Oh. I'm sorry. I went from business session to, yeah, so I'm sorry. I skipped ahead. I'm just rearranging the agenda that y'all voted on. So yes, the consent agenda is Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act that Judge Palmer presented. 10.2 is the GMAS contract for appraisal services from the Board of Assessors, and 10.3 is appointments for planning and zoning. Those we have Commissioner Chance reappointing Jerry Doyle, Commissioner Steve Fuller appointing Jeffrey Vance, and Commissioner Danny Bailey appointing Jamie Beam. So those are the three items on the consent agenda. So I'll ask for a motion and to accept these.
Motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, now we're at the business session, which I just did part of it. And so then we'll move into 11.2, the appointments from 2, 4, and 6 for the Community Development Board of Appeals. So Commissioner Chance, do you have someone you'd like to appoint at this time?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I had asked for this to be a single vote today. My current representative, Mr. Sundberg, has served for many years and done an outstanding job. He has a immediate family sickness that he is having to help take care and did not feel that he could continue to take the time to serve. So I thank him for his past year's service. At this time, I would like to propose the appointment of Mr. Jim Stevenson. Mr. Stevenson is a longtime resident of Fairfield Plantation and of Carroll County. He's very active in the community. He is also a citizens liaison for the roads department in Fairfield, so he understands a lot of the challenges per se that will probably come before the Board of Appeals. So I feel like his talents are well suited for the role.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Fuller, do you have a nomination at this time, or an appointment, excuse me?
Yes, I'd like to appoint Clifford Tribble to the Board of Appeals. I handed the commission his biography, or a little small bio. I guess everyone still has it. Just to sum it up, he's a Georgia Tech graduate. He's an engineer at Southwire. He owns a small business out on US 27, just south of town. And he and his father own they have 109 acres for cattle farm. So Clifford's looking forward to doing this, and I highly recommend it.
Commissioner Bailey, do you have a appointment, excuse me?
Yes, ma'am. Mine will be a reappointment of Bill Hodge.
Okay, great. So at this time, I'll ask for a motion and a second to accept these three citizens to serve on the Board of Appeals.
Motion made as presented with names.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, so now if I haven't rearranged the agenda again by accident, I'll look for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Motion carries 7-0.